Magandang umaga. Okay, everybody stand up. Tayo. Tayo. Tamad dito, tamad. Okay, stretch. Stretch. Yell out. Okay, over here, ready? You say outsource. Over here you say invent. Over here you say create. The middle has it. Good morning, everyone. You can sit down now. Thank you. So my name is Kevin Leversee, and I did a lot of work before this week. I wanted to try to do things that were relevant to what was currently happening in not only the Philippine tech community, but in the market as a whole. Not only that, I wanted to do something that would empower, enable, and kind of like change the way people think. So really what I want to say is this. Everything that you've been told about what you're doing in school, about where you're going, is probably going to be a lie. Sir Ken Robinson did a great speech called Why Schools Kill Creativity. And it is the most popular TED speech on the site for TED Talks. What I want to say about that is this. Oftentimes we're afraid of being wrong. When you're in kindergarten, you're taught, hey, it's okay to color outside the lines. But when you're in college, that's kind of frowned upon. When you get to the real world, you have a choice. You either do what everybody else is doing, follow the lemmings, be a sheep, do what's right, get a good job. Or if you're part of I'm going to invent something, you're going to do what your buddies are going to do. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to be part of this scene, do this sort of thing. But if you're going to create's kind of like the hero's quest. You go out in the woods, you go out in the mountains, you go out to whatever small apartment, and you guys create something. You create something because you see it in your mind's eye. You see it and you know that this is going to change the way that things are. And the one thing that I want you to get from any discussion that you have here is to quit focusing on the technology, because technology does not matter. The purpose of technology is to enable. To enable what? Humans to do something. And I'm going to apologize for some of the graphics in this slide, because yours truly deleted his presentation and had to do it all this morning in about an hour and a half. So the graphics might be a little interesting because I used paintbrush. See, don't be afraid of being wrong. Okay. We are like, it's almost genetically predisposed that we're social beings, okay? The need to communicate and connect creates our psychological map for our environment and who we are, all right? What I mean by this is something also relative to Philippine culture, okay? Your greatest strength is your greatest weakness, right? The Peter principle. That comes from the Apostle Peter, being, the strongest. Christ said, I'm going to build my church on him. Of you I'll build my church. But at the same time, he was the first one to deny him. So that becomes the Peter principle. That's where it comes from. That's epistemology. So your greatest strength is your greatest weakness. Sapir-Whorf hypothesis about linguistic relativity. Your mother language is a good portion of your psychological map. What that means is that, for example, in the English language, we have like 6,000 ways to describe emotions and something. Doesn't necessarily mean it's right or better, but there's just more ways to describe how you're feeling. The word in Tagalog for ako is ako, we. Now it doesn't, I've had a couple people go, no, that's not exactly right. But at the same time, it's pretty much right. Now, I'm not gonna go over linguistic relativity. What I'm gonna say is this. Your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. What I mean is, you look at your barren guy, you look at your family, right? And that's the unit that keeps you guys together. Your mother and dad probably don't have air conditioning so that you guys can have that extra money so you can go to school. And that is the most beautiful thing about the Philippines. I don't have a family that's like that. As a matter of fact, my very good friend, who's Filipino, almost 20 years now, 21 years now is my friend. I'll go over to his house, and everybody be there. His family just, this amazing whirlwind, maelstrom of family activity. They would just grab you, make sure you ate. Kevin, you eat, kinda. Okay, Tito. You know, and I just loved it because I grew up in, typical middle-class America where there was no, well, let's put it this way. There's no such thing as family in America. I mean, at all. The way that you guys look at family just doesn't exist, unless you're probably part of an ethnic community. So that's the first thing that I loved about the Philippines, living in Northern California 20-some years ago, was I loved that strength. But here's the thing, the Peter Principle, right? Your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. That family unit has preconceived notions of who you are, what you're going to do. Now, what does this have to do with crowdsourcing the floods? You guys are like, wow, this guy's making some jumps here. It's this. Whenever you're building technology, you're also going to have ideas and preconceived notions about what that's going to deliver. It's false. Because HCI is theory put into practice through, building it. And then you're going to have feedback from the developers and everything. So theory is often not in practice what the founders or the people behind it were. So you have to be, agile and move and develop. In the same way, family units have preconceived notions about what you should do, who you are, and what you should be in your life. So technology and the way people view technology from a design standpoint. Now, okay, might be losing some of you here. Check this out. You're gonna be designing something eventually one day, okay? And someone's gonna go, hey, we're gonna build this application. This application's gonna do X, Y, and Z. But you build the application, and you find out that it's not really doing that. The users are using it for something else entirely. Okay, so when you have family structures and all these things around you that are also your greatest strength, they're also gonna limit you because they have ideas about what you should do with your life. So if you're gonna be creating something, you're gonna be doing part of the inventing something, there's a risk there. And the reason I'm even making this diatribe into the speech was the singularity concept that was being spoken about as I entered. And I spoke about that quite a bit. And the thing is, if we don't create now, we're not gonna have a future. And the beautiful concept is, when you look at the floods, and the Manila floods, and the reason I'm talking about the floods is because I was there. That morning, I had to walk from, is it RSBC, HSBC, near Washington, Makati, and there's no cars, no bus, and I had to walk through chest-high water. The water's this high. And I'm looking, and there's it's like Armageddon, and you're like, what the heck is this? I've been in the Philippines 6 years, I haven't seen something like this. Cars are underwater, and it's incredible. And it wasn't even Ondoy. It was worse than Ondoy. So I went through this experience, and for some strange reason, I felt more connected, more alive, and more aware of what's going on in the Philippines. Now, I have jokes with my barkada because they always keep saying, Kevin, you're not Filipino. But the point being is that we're all humans, we're all connected. And this greatest strengths are your greatest weakness. So when you're looking at technology, people have these preconceived notions about what it's gonna be, what it's gonna do. And you know what you find? You find that the lowest common denominator is usually what works. And when you looked at the case of the Manila floods, it was all about connecting people. So, technology is the enabler. Where's the thing? All right, technology enables human behavior. And how does it do that? So I want you guys to imagine an onion. Okay? An onion has many layers. In the center, you're gonna have the individual, me, or your user, for example, right? That user has a desire. I wanna go from point A to point B. That path I take is the desire line. Repeat, desire line. Okay, you guys say desire. No, not like sexy. Desire. All right, say line. Gosh, you guys wala coffee this morning, huh? Okay, desire. Line. Forgot what's next. All right. So check this out. At the center of everything that you guys are going to do, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's business, whether it's hit the wrong button when I was talking. You're going to have the user, the person. That individual is going to do something. They have a desire. And that desire might be, I'm hungry. Or, I need to use a CR. Or, I have an application that's not working, and I need to find some sort of testing tools or code tracking or bug fixing software that lets my team collaborate, right? It doesn't matter what it is, but I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Individual, I have a desire. I want to go from point A, I'm hungry, to, Jollibee, I'm fed, or Canadiria, So point A, point B, that path is desire line. When you build things along a desire line, the desire line, don't leave, it's okay. I'm over soon. There's people leaving. When you build things along the desire line, you're attaching your products and services to the path that the users are taking. All right, so individual, they have a desire, something they want to do. Desire. Wow, you guys are, reproductive health care bill in here. It's like sexy desire. Say desire. All right, say line. Okay, in my entire professional career, of doing web technology and stuff in a professional level, not by myself, since 1998, the most important thing I ever learned was the concept of a desire line. Because you got to stop thinking about the technology and you got to start thinking about people. You got to stop thinking about having something like a good job and start thinking about what problem am I going to solve? So when you do what you love and you're solving problems, you're creating and it's going to be blessed. But when you're going out to have a good job and your focus is the technology, you're missing the point of what's going on. Now, try having a developer that's totally stoked about, using the latest framework. And then try to have someone that's really focused on getting that customer. It doesn't matter what it's built in. You can build it in chicken wire and bubblegum. Does it work? Is the customer happy? Tapos na. Repeat after me. Oh. Okay, it doesn't matter what it's built in, you guys. It doesn't matter PHP, Java, Ruby. Okay, does it work? Does it accomplish what that desire is going to be done? The business requirements, does it work? Fine, it's good. Next step. Everyone's so focused on this beautiful code, what it's going to do. That's not really what's going on. So, humans have a desire. The path they take is a desire line. And guess what? What influences them? What influences you? No, you with the glasses. You're wearing glasses like that, it's like Target.
Target.
Yeah. What influences you? Anyone? Seriously, what influences you? Come on, they have these bright lights in my eyes. It's like, Jesus, is that you? It's like spaceships and stuff. Someone, I can't even see the audience. It's like, whoa. And I come over here and it's like, there's people. Someone, what influences you? Is everybody afraid to answer a question? What do you, there's no right or wrong, but what influences you? I'm going to ask you until you answer. What influences you?
Family.
Family. Say it louder.
Family.
What influences you?
Friends.
Okay. Tapos na. Okay. So, you have a human. They have a desire. They want to go from point A to point B, right? And guess what influences them? Their family, their friends, so the people that are in their circle of influence. Sphere of influence, the Prometheus concept. It's what the United States Army did when they went to war with Afghanistan and Iraq. They handed out cards shaped around the people that had influence, the people that had a sphere of influence, and they went after those targets. Why? Because when you take out the head of a sphere of influence, you take out pretty much the effective, damn it, Microsoft product. Hey, I do that to my Android phone earlier. Point being is, when you take out the sphere of influence, you take out the power of it, right? But this is what's interesting. Individual, desire line, conversations within their social sphere of influence. Social meaning human social sciences, not Facebook. Facebook is the enabler. It's not the human element. So then you have myth and story. Now, human experience, stories of human experience. Check this out. Nobody's talking about BMW as a brand. Nobody's talking about Ford or Telstra or anybody else. They're not talking about the company. They're not talking about the brand. They're not talking about, Philippine, what is it, Pagsa? Am I correct on that? Yeah, I know. I read it, and then it's like, geez, light, wow. Woo. I need like Bono glasses and stuff up here, like visors. I can't even look at the audience. It's like, woo, lose my vision. Then it's dizzy. Pagsa, right? They're not talking about the brands. They're talking about the human experience they're having with the brands. Okay, so myth. All right, naintindihan sa tik-tik sa aswang? Naintindihan? Okay, somebody over here be brave enough and tell me what a aswang tik-tik is, because what is it? Well, you, okay, cool.
Hoy, Kervin.
I'm not leaving you, bro. Just what's a tik-tik? What's aswang?
Aswang is a kind of creature that it's look like so ugly, looks like a monster.
It's a witch, right?
Yes.
It's from Masbate and Basayan, right? Biko? Yeah? Uh-huh. Okay, what's tik-tik? Same thing, huh? Sorry. Didn't mean to hit you in the head for not answering the question. Sorry. So, it's a witch. It's folklore, correct? So when someone says tik-tik, what do you think? This entire picture in your head, right? Yes? Okay, big bird. All right. My G.I. Joe Kung Fu roll. Okay, so do you guys understand? There's Philippine folklore, right? You're only going to understand it if you grew up with Lola having a chinela at you. Get in the house, right? Pasik solo. You're only going to get it if you're Filipino. You're only going to get that cultural reference. Okay, so individual desire line, conversations with the family and friends, circle of influence, and they're going to be stories of human experience related to myth, related to religion, and related to culture. Okay, these things are very important. Why? Okay, I'll get there. The tools and technology come last. This is not my, go conquer the world speech. This is my real. Spent about 100 hours doing this, and it's been something I've been doing for 20 years. You guys, they're teaching you wrong. Unless you're doing a lot of usability studies, unless you're doing a lot of social interface design, not defensive design, but unless you're really looking at why you're building the things that you're building and how they're being built, or how the technology is being adapted, as you go into this wide world of sports that's known as IT, you're going to be a couple people. You're going to be a role. My role is I want a good job. I just want the paycheck. I'm going to code 8 hours a day and go home. The others, I'm going to invent and create, change the world. The others might, do the whole startup thing. But the thing is, all of you are going to miss the mark unless you get one thing down. It's not about the technology. It's not about the application. It's not about your business. It's about the user. What's the user doing? It's just average person. Hey, I'm a human. I want to accomplish something. Now, these are the biggest mind concepts, and they're not pretty. I just needed to make sure we hit. Okay, this is my paintbrush. Say everybody, this is my paintbrush thing, man. When I deleted this, I deleted my entire presentation. I went to find it this morning. I'm like, oh crap, I saved the old one on top of it. So this is in paintbrush, and I did it in about 5 minutes. So the point being is this. In the center, you have the individual, the user, right? And around that user, what influences them is their social sphere, friends and influence, right? They have a desire. They want to go from point A to point B. Their desire might be, I want to order a pizza, right? So the application is, click the button here, order a pizza. They might want to, play Angry Birds on a new device. So, because they're bored. I'm bored. I want to be entertained, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It's human, desire, the path they take to get there, and the decision on what path they take is usually fielded by the sphere of influence. So that's it in graphical form. Okay, Manila floods. So how many people were here during the Manila floods? I mean, like seriously, we're stuck in it. 90% of Manila was underwater. Where are you guys from? Over here, big group. You guys up front that were all laughing. What school are you from? It doesn't help if you whisper.
Laguna State Polytechnic University.
Okay. Woo! Okay. Where are you from?
Laguna State Polytechnic.
Where does Laguna end? Laguna. Is everybody here from Laguna? Wow. Everybody go, ah. Okay. Who's from Laguna? Are you guys from Laguna? You're going to Laguna, right? Okay, so, tayo. Tayo. Okay, so Laguna stay standing. Okay. Where do you go to school?
Tisa, Tarlac State of University.
What city?
Tarlac.
Tarlac, tayo. Who's Tarlac, tayo. Laguna. Okay, now, check this out. Ready? Tarlac. Hey. It's not about you, it's about the message. Okay, so Tarlac, diba? Laguna, diba? Okay, the distance you go from, I want to go from Tarlac to Laguna is what? Angry. What is it? It's a desire line, because you desire to go from point A to point B. You understand? Who's hungry? All right, I'm too. So, Tarlac, if you guys, I'm not going to do it but the point being is, you're here, they're there. Point A, point B, correct? Okay, now, what happens, oh, you guys can sit down now. I'm doing all this stuff on purpose, okay, you guys? What I'm trying to talk about is the sciences behind it. Okay. We stood up. Guys, the science behind things, okay? Check this out. What's the science behind it? Why do we do the things we do? Why does this work? How do ideas spread? What is the wisdom of crowds? Okay. So the basis is human desire. So what happens when nature screws that up? You still want to get from point A to point B, but now there's floodwater. What happens when all the telecommunications out? What happens when, I don't know about you, but I've got this really wonderful Galaxy phone, but it's always low bat. So I have this crappy Nokia that always works. You know what I mean? So I find I'm always playing with the Samsung. And this low bat again. Put it away. And then when you need to text somebody, you're using the Nokia. All right. So point A to point B. The Samsung is like a Swiss Army knife, right? It does everything, right? I also have an iPhone, but I like the Samsung better, even if they lost the lawsuit. So you've got all this technology, but it doesn't really accomplish what you need it to do. I've got a phone that does everything, man. It's like, it even opens cans and bottles of beer, you know? But it doesn't send a text in a phone when I need to. So when you look at the technology that was being utilized during wanting to go from point A to point B, you're looking at low tech. You're looking at, I'm a human, I have a need, I'm stranded. Do you realize that like most of the technology that was used during this stuff was stuff that's been around for years? We're talking like text, points of reference, and enabling human behavior, which is, hey, I'm going to go from point A to point B, I'm going to use my sphere of influence that's enabled by the tools. Here's the thing. All of your classes, and even this, ready? Youth for Information Technology. Okay, what does information technology do? Technology is the enabler of business and human interaction. So you got to focus on the purpose, not the tools or the result to get there. So I'm saying, change your mind. It's not about the technology. Technology doesn't matter. When you're dealing with customers, and you look at someone who does website or social media or anything that does in technology, and it's all this crap about, we use agile software development. We use Rails, this version, this version of bug tracking, in our almost patented process that does this. Customers don't care. Customers like, yo, I have an online store that used to be owned by my grandfather, but they don't do custom wedding dresses anymore. It's a true story. And I just want to handle my customers' problems, and I want to be able to get my business out the door. And the thing is the guys that were working with them, they missed the point. You don't go to the customer and talk about the technology you're using. Okay, so we might have a customer for them. That's fine. But we're still missing the point. So it's interesting that government agencies that deal with saving your life are missing all of this. Why? Because they're focused on Y4iT. They're focused on the technology, not the reason, not the path behind it. Now, there's a lot of processes that help you get there, but we're not talking about enabling human experiences. We're talking about the technology. That's great. We're talking about technology all day long. You still want to get from point A to point B, and it don't matter if you're in a car, a life raft, a coffin, you still just want to get out of the problem. So, what I want to talk about is the science behind it, not the tools. Because you look at all the stuff that's, in the media or online, and it's all about, Facebook was utilized. Well, Twitter was utilized. Yeah, okay. The thing is, if I'm going to communicate a message, I'm going to look at the tools I have in front of me. I'm going to look at what's not working. Well, damn, I can't use Skype because my Android's low bat again. What am I going to use? SMS messaging. Okay? So we all look at our, quiver of arrows of what we're going to do to get from point A to point B. Pathway takes our desire line. And if you're focusing on the technology and not the human, we're not going to be able to develop emergency services. We're not going to be able to save lives. We're not going to be able to get the things done we need to get done because we're thinking about it wrong. You guys, okay, this might not be something interesting, but this was a big deal to me. I got stuck there, wading through water, watching all of this unfold. And it's interesting because the guy I was with had an asthma problem. He's about 12 years younger than me. I had to carry all his bags and pretty much help him through the water. And there's no way he could even get medicine. Imagine suffering from asthma, having this massive asthma attack, and wading through chest-high water. I'm afraid this guy's going to die. And there's no way to communicate. There's no way to get anything done because someone got about the platform wrong. And what is so cool about the Philippine culture is the jeepney experience. How many people have been in a jeepney? And you wonder, how the heck does this thing run, right? It'll stop, it'll short out, whatever, and the driver will just go, and it's starting and it's going again. Because Philippines is all about innovation. These shoes are proudly made somewhere, and they ripped off, I have no idea where they're made. But they're Filipino, they're local, and they cost me 500 pesos. And you know what? They served my purpose. I don't need to have stuff that's like, sir, it's local. Great, I'll take it. There's this concept that this innovation stuff isn't happening. Okay? There's so much innovation happening this within a block radius of you that you're not seeing the power, the beauty, and the spark of the Filipino. You're so focused on the technology and getting things done and going overseas to get a good job. You guys, you're being programmed wrong. And it's interesting because if you look at the wisdom of crowds, the wisdom of crowds says that true intelligence comes through diversity. True intelligence comes from extreme diversity. True intelligence comes from the ability to make a decision autonomously without being influenced by your circle and social sphere. So check that out. The things that influence us most make us dumber. I'll repeat that. The things that influence us most make us dumber. You put a bunch of smart people in a room, and they're going to leave that room and that topic dumber than when they went in. Do you know why? Because there's going to be somebody like me, pretty loud mouth, pretty type A personality. I don't know if I'm type A or type, I don't care. And, dude, the first time I've ever had somebody sleep in my presentation. Poor guy. He probably commuted here from who knows where. Good morning. That was cool, bro. Didn't mean to point you out, but I was like, wow. And someone like me that's putting the audience to sleep. And you've got the other people that just kind of go along with the idea. So if you're doing brainstorming, this is why they say brainstorming doesn't work, right? They're pretty much going to follow what the leader, the alpha dog, or whatever's going to do. If you're doing business requirements, you're doing all this stuff, you're going to always notice that, gee, it's built from the human perspective of the person that's pretty much leading it or the group that's leading it, and it's not done in autonomy. So true intelligence comes from what? Diversity. Say diversity. 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 Autonomy. Wow. Hey guys, autonomy. 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 Diversity. Too long, no. Okay, check this out. I don't know about you, but if I'm a college student and everything else, I'm going to be embarrassed when Kevin, dumbass Leversee, comes up and hands me a microphone because like, oh my God, I'm going to be speaking through the speakers, right? And it's like, you know, your brain is like stuck. Oh, my friends. And you're looking at your friends. That's not autonomy. Autonomy is you're alone, you're in that back room, and I go, hey, what's the answer to this question? And you go, bro, that's simple, dude. It's like this, right? Okay? You're a lot smarter when you don't have to fear what's going on in your social circle. You're also a lot smarter when you have extreme diversity because you need different perspectives. This is what's so amazing. We don't have the truth. God did not give us, in his infinite wisdom, the truth. We have perspective built upon psychological profiles, linguistic relativity, and all this other host of crap. So perspectives from all these different angles give us intelligence. And so here's the thing. You got, sir, it's local made. And I'm like, damn, this is good. Because they're not seeing the same things I'm seeing. They're not seeing the jeepney innovation. They're not seeing the leader of light. They're not seeing all this innovation that's happening. They're focused on something else. So you're being programmed wrong. And what you're doing is you're not seeing all the innovation that's happening. So when people are talking about the great things that were happening, by the way, you understand that that's a desire line in these different spheres of influence? Okay, next slide. Myth. Joseph Campbell wrote in 1949, Hero with 1,000 Faces. What he basically found out was after going through an anthology of all the world's religions, all the world's myths, they're all the same. Little Mermaid, Pocahontas, Avatar, Star Wars, The Bourne Supremacy, and Batman are the same story. It's the same story. You have a guy. Hi, my name is Jason Bourne. Something happens to him. Something happened to me. I have to make a choice. Do I take the easy road? Red pill, blue pill, Matrix, right? Ta-ba. It's the hero's quest. You guys, Star Wars, Pocahontas, Little Mermaid, name all these stories. They're the same damn story over and over, except you guys are missing the point. You have a character, I grew up on a farm, or I grew up in Gotham City. You know, something happened that changed their life, and they have a choice. I either take the good pill or the bad pill, right? I'm going to go this direction, which is good, and it's harder. I take this direction, and it's not. So we're already programmed subconsciously for myth, religion, culture. Why is this important? Because we relate human experience. We are not using tools and technology to talk about technology unless you're like us, which love technology, therefore, ergo. But average Joe, hey Joe, average people are talking about their human experiences. That's why there's so many food blogging. People are hungry, and they take pictures of their food. Hey, look at this adobo. I used peanuts. Come on, man, that was my best joke. Okay, so do you guys understand all stories pretty much are the same? They're the same hero's quest. In your own life, you're in the middle of your hero's quest. You've gone to school. I don't know why you went to school, but I'm pretty darn sure it was to have a better future, to have more choices, to be more prepared. If you say get a good job, I will hit you with the microphone. Nobody wants a good job. You don't want a good job. You want what the job gives you. So the point being is, we're all in the middle of our hero's quest. We're all going somewhere. So do you understand? When the floods happen, everyone's focused on the tools and the technology, the Twitter, the Facebook. Wow, they're using hashtags, right? It was so pronounced. You see it all over the world. Hey, the Philippine floods. And look what they're doing to technology. And it's like, yeah, you guys are missing it. My Samsung Galaxy is always low bat. I love the thing. I've never loved the phone so much. but it's like, I don't know. Has anyone seen the Goonies? Or am I like in the totally wrong decade, right? He invents a bunch of flashlights and they only last like 5 seconds, right? That's my my phone experience for smartphones. So everyone's focused on, wow, they're doing this, but they're missing the point. Point is, human desire, we're going somewhere, and we relate what? Why are the floods, Mount Pinatubo, and everything else so stuck in our heads? Because it's human experience related to myth, related to the hero's quest, related to things that we can remember. I don't know if you know this, but for thousands and thousands of years, the way intelligence and knowledge was passed from one generation to the other was through songs or stories. That's where all this came from. Stories. Human stories about human experience. Not Ruby on Rails and, different stuff. No, somebody's just saying, I'm going to look at this later and go, geez, Kevin, why don't you say lamp stocks to show people you know what you're talking about? I used to program in Lisp. Anyone know what Lisp is? Cricket. Anyway, it's lists. You build lists, and the list can make decisions, and the more lists you build, the more decisions you have, ergo, artificial intelligence. Okay. So, say myth. Myth. So, say myth. Myth. Okay, myth. All myths are the same. It's called monomyth. It's the hero's quest. All stories follow the same one. Okay, now check this out. On the left are Henkel knives. On the right are the knives I see in so many of my Filipino friends' kitchens. Okay, what's a knife? You're going to do something with it. Point A to point B. I am going to cut the tomatoes. I'm going to dice the bawang. Gisarang, diba? So, Henkel knives are the experience. They've been around since the Dark Ages. They've been folding steel and iron mills and stuff like that. And they're the best if you're a cook. But you know what? You get the same thing done for 400 pesos, and you get more of them, and they're colored in different colors. Point is, humans are going to use what humans are going to use. You're going to decide, I'm a Happy Meal, I'm a value meal, I'm a supersize it, and I'm a, would you like a sundae with that? I use McDonald's to showcase human grouping. So, desire, human, social influence, the tools we're going to use, the way we relate to people, and our concept of who we are and what that relates to each other. We're either going to be the value, we're going to be the average, we're going to be the supersize, we're going to be the custom. So, quit focusing on the tools. Quit focusing on the technology. Focus on what it does and what it solves. Look at the lives you save by enabling SMS networks like Atropa, which is a Philippine startup in Cebu, started by a bunch of young guys that said, hey, what if I could send one SMS and it would reach 100 people? Oh, lists. Atropa. Great. Yeah. And Globe is using them. I was talking to Globe. Hey, is that the disaster thing you're talking about? Is that the Atropa? Not exactly, Kevin, but very close. Here's the thing. Average guys drinking beer, right? Philippine college students said, hey, and that tool is used valuably to save lives. Simple. So, the story. Tell me a story. I'm going to pick over here. Story. Where did you wake up? What town? Ako, kanina, umaga, saan bahay mo?
Laguna.
Laguna. Binyan, what?
Magdalena.
Yeah? What's your street number? Just kidding. Okay, so what happened? You got on a bus, right? So, ako, umaga, I got on a bus, right?
Sleep.
Like right now. Okay, so you're in Laguna, you wake up, get on a bus, then what?
Sleep.
I love this guy. I don't know about you, man, but if I went all the way from Laguna to here, sleeping, okay. So anyway, telling a story, human experience, we relate. Okay, what's going on with the whole DeSoto thing about the plagiarism, right? Does anybody know what that is? There's all these stories. There's reasons why. Look at, I don't know, the U.S. elections. Boy, that's interesting. There's all these human stories, and they're looking at human things. So check this out. We remember stories. So if you're talking to people about technology, they're not going to get it. If you're talking about how you're going to help people in times of crisis, they're not going to get it. Because people are going to do what they're going to do, and they use the tools they want to use them, and they're going to use it to do the simple things. Point A to point B, use social influence, use what my friends are using. You have people who use Globe. They only text Globe. Oh, darn, you're smart. It means we can't date. It's hilarious. I've seen it happen. So we're not making lives of technology. We're making technology make lives for us. So technology is the last layer. It's the last thing you got to worry about. Center is the human. And anything that enables human action, and the tools that they use to get that action done, is at the last layer. You got to worry about what's really going on here. And you're going to find so many things that companies are overvalued and all that stuff. So, premise, using technology. It's a limited user base. Okay, company, Cambridge Technology, is going to hire a bunch of engineers, right? They automatically make this game, right, that will not work with high or low bandwidth. You have to have like super high bandwidth. Why would you limit technology? And there's such a big backlash. Why? They use the technology, right, to go, we only want the engineers, because the engineers are only going to be the ones that have the bandwidth to play this game. Think about that. They, all of a sudden, made it exclusive by using the technology. So if governments and everybody else are not paying attention to lowest common denominator, or what people are using, they're not going to be able to save lives. They're not going to be able to do what's been happening. And how do they do that? Pay attention to what's being used in the wisdom of the crowds. Because wisdom of the crowds is diversity, ability to make a decision in autonomy, right? So true wisdom happens in nature. True wisdom happens in this room despite the sleeping. True wisdom happens in movements. Look at the Arab Spring. Look at the things that are happening around you. I tell you something, it's almost as if today we're psychic. You don't need focus groups. You just go look at what's trending on Twitter, and you can geotag it, find out what's going on. So the premise, government and education has to use what's widely available, already adopted, not what's going to happen. Emergency disaster services got to pay attention to what's already existing in market. And guess what? Facebook and Twitter and Skype and email pretty much have the bases covered. Thank you. Point is this. Look at what's really going on. Human wants action, right? And everything in our life is based upon where you want to go. Sometimes where you want to go, the map you have can't get you there. So are you going to be limited by the map, or are you going to look at how do I solve the problem? I've seen so many people not solve problems because they're so focused on the technology. You go, dude, why don't you just do it in PHP? I have so many people focused on the most beautiful code, they're making Henkel knives. During the Manila floods, I walked. I used plastic bags, I used whatever I could to keep everything. I lost a laptop, I lost my phones, but I helped my friend with asthma make it. At the end of the day, we're all humans going through our experience. We remember stories. We relate them to myth. It's not about technology, you guys. It's about enabling people. It's not about getting a good job. It's about changing, solving a problem, and doing something that you love. Thank you.